When you're game planning, how mindful are you of the opposing quarterback and the things that they do, and in terms of keeping them off the field, I guess, with what you do offensively?
No, there's definitely some complementary football involved, and I think with what we do offensively, I think it naturally that's what we want to do. We want to run the ball and collect first downs, stay on the field, and then create some explosive plays and try to keep their offense off the field, and that's pretty much every week. But especially with this offense, I think it's key for us to be able to move the sticks and convert on some third downs and stay on the field and keep their offense off.
You've run it, I think, 86 times the last 2 weeks. Have you found something a little bit more in the running game, or is it just strictly who you were playing?
No, I think just I think we had, particularly last game, had more opportunities, just more play calls in general. Through the course of the game, the defense was doing a good job getting some 3 and outs, getting us the ball back, and I just felt like we had more play calls overall. But we're going to try to run the ball, and if we're doing it effectively, keep doing it.
You not running as many, I guess, fly sweeps or receiver runs or whatever you want to call it this year as you have the last couple of years. Is that just coincidence, or is it something that?
I think a little bit of coincidence. It's just maybe some of the opponents that we've been playing, and sometimes it's in the plan. It doesn't get called. But it's something that we would like to do more of with those receivers. We feel like we, Silas and Ant, Josiah, put the ball in their hands and get them in space. That's one of the strengths, I feel like, of those guys. And so that's something that is a thought. We just probably haven't gotten as many of them called. And I think, maybe sometimes the weekly opponent's just not great that week. We don't have any.
You'll probably run it 8 times. Just kidding.
Can you take us back a little bit to when you guys recruited Damian? How did you find him? How did you come across him? You remember?
Coach AJ Stewart, I think had been recruiting him from where he was at previously and knew of him, and he'd recruited Texas before, and just developed a great relationship with him, and really liked him early in the process. And I think Damian came up and enjoyed Corvallis, enjoyed Oregon State, and kind of what we had going, and then I feel like the offense, the opportunity to touch the ball in a pro-style scheme, I think was a big deal. But I think the primary thing was AJ did a really good job of recruiting him and developed that relationship early in the process.
Do you remember that process, what when you saw film of him or watched him live, what stuck out, when you're like, oh yeah, this is the dude?
Yeah, no, I think he did stick out, and I think it was all of us were like, yeah, it's going to be a tough one to hold on to. He's going to get a lot of attention, and he did. And to AJ's credit, and he just stayed with it, and Damian stayed loyal to us through the process, and it's worked out.
What's it like? I mean, it's kind of a stupid question, but just having that guy, I don't want to say a security blanket, but no one run heavy offense we're talking about right now. What's it like having that guy to rely on and to feature and use?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, he's a really talented player, and he's experienced in the system, and he's got a really good feel for the wide zone. And I also think having a guy like Fenwick behind him to keep him fresh. He's not having to take every snap, and the combination of those two has been really, really good. And I think that's helped Dame out as well.
He's kind of a quiet dude, huh? Kind of keeps to himself a little bit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you've seen behind the scenes too. He's pretty
quiet. Yeah, quiet guy. I think he opens up once you get to know him a little bit more. But yeah, he's a quiet guy and keeps to himself and focused on task in hand.
Damian said after the game he felt like he could have got a 5th and a 6th touchdown against Stanford the other day. Do you guys ever take into consideration letting them chase those records, or is there any conversations about those records going on?
No, I mean maybe on the sideline between those guys, but that's with the staff, not really. I mean, I think there was going into the game, it was like, man, Damian's right around 1,000 yards. It'd be nice to get over that mark this week. But I mean, no, I mean that's not a thought. Whoever happened to be in for the play was going to have the opportunity wherever they were.
The offense really got in a groove early on in that game. Is that sort of a similar game plan that you guys want to have against this Washington team, knowing that they're able to give up some points but also score a lot of points?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the plan every week. We want to come out, start fast, and I think important to get the quarterback in a rhythm. And I thought DJ hit some things early and got going, and always gives you confidence to get some scores on some of those early drives, get a lead, and that's something that I think will be huge this week. And I think both teams don't necessarily run a lot of plays. I think that'll be a key factor, is just knowing that we may not get as many opportunities that we typically get. I think it'll be similar, maybe a little bit more to the Arizona game, where each team they shift in motion, they go no huddle, but a lot of shift in motion, and we're a huddle team, so it just may not be as many drives, I guess, as I'm saying, many opportunities as we had.
With how Washington's been having sort of their last couple games, how important is it for you guys to end these drives in touchdowns rather than in field goals?
It's huge, and that cost us in last year's game. And we had 2 opportunities, 4th down, deep in the red zone, and came away with no points, and that ended up being the difference in the game. So, especially with the way their offense scores and efficiency with the way they operate, it's going to be key for us when we get those opportunities to turn them into touchdowns.
One other regarding Damian, what's been your experience about the progress for a running back going from his freshman to sophomore year in terms of what they're able to do?
Yeah, I think that Damian was kind of you try to avoid that kind of sophomore slump. Sometimes guys that have success early as a freshman think they're just going to show up and forget how hard they worked to get to that point and have that success as a freshman. So I think Damian, KB, our running backs coach, did a good job of kind of staying on him and pushing him, and he had a great offseason. And I just think those guys really make jumps, understanding of the scheme, with what we do, and then I think make jumps, away from when they're touching the ball as far as their ability and the protection, understanding of protections, catching the ball out of the backfield, detail of routes, and I think Damian's grown a lot in that area.
Yeah.
When you look at this Washington defense, what do you see in them, especially like later in the season where we're at right now?
The thing that jumps off the film are the front seven and the edge, particularly the edge players. I think they're long, athletic, explosive, and that's going to be it'll be a really challenge for our tackles, because I feel like we got some pretty good tackles too, and I think those guys are 2 of the best guys in the conference. And their front seven, I feel like does a nice job, and the secondary's been opportunistic. And for us, I think it's when we get those opportunities down the red zone, we've got to be able to score touchdowns, and that's what we failed to do a couple times last year.
It sounds maybe like have the regular offensive line there with maybe Jake back this week. Does it help though having established some real depth? You had it coming in, but now guys gotten a lot of playing time to mix and match pieces. If something happens in this game.
No, I think the experience is huge. That's key. Anytime you can get, Grant Starks played a lot for us. Moving Tanner Miller over to center and to get him some live, meaningful reps at the center position. If Jake's unable to go, I think that's huge. Gives your quarterback a lot more confidence, and then us definitely. Just knowing that, hey, these guys have some real live action, some experience, something to build off of. They're not just going in there fresh.
How nice was it to be able to get Ben in there and even complete a pass? And what has been sort of his reaction to how has he handled his position and basically on the depth charts in the quarterback position?
No, Ben's been awesome, and I know it's a tough situation for him, and I just know that that Coach Smith, myself, the program, really, we just all really appreciate the way that he's gone about the process, and he was very deserving to get in there. It was awesome to go see him get a completion, and the reaction from the crowd I thought was well deserved when he came into the game, because he's done a lot for this program, he's done a lot for the team, and he's been very supportive of DJ and Aiden through the whole process. So I think he's a class act, and I think it says a lot about him. It was cool to see him get out there.